Players are just sitting down now, but I can tell you our main feature match for round one is going to feature one of the players who is currently tied for 6th on the leaderboard, so trying to maintain that rank to get his bye for round one of the Invitational, and that is Gabe Abadi, a staple here in the Apex Gaming Invitational Series, and he is playing one of the recent breakout decks in Modern that is Gruel Food. Now, this is a deck that was pioneered by Aspiring Spike this week. If you tuned in yesterday to watch our Apex Gauntlet that Todd and I played, it was the deck that I played on the Modern side of that Gauntlet. Looked really good.
Yeah, it did.
But Gabe has been playing food decks for a long time.
That's true. He leans into the mono red side of things. He likes those shrapnel blasts. He likes those galvanic blasts. And he has kind of melded the two together. You know, we've seen him play those Urza Saga decks, but this is the first time I've seen him play Finale of Devastation. And honestly, getting to play 4 more copies of Asmo, you know, what else could you ask for?
Yeah. Got to get those Asmos out. Such a key card. Also got the Ren and 6s, the Saren Steel Seekers.
Yeah, Saren Steel Seeker is a crazy addition to the deck. Helps find, you know, the Overchase Daredevil and just fills your graveyard and helps you hit land drops.
Yeah, helps you dig towards burn spells if you need to just burn them out at the end. So really cool to see him blend his own take on this deck that we've seen him play before with the new take. And
Spicy one of in the sideboard too.
Oh yeah,
Seismic Assault. Are you kidding me?
He came over to the booth to show it to us to make sure we knew it was there. We didn't overlook it in the sideboard. Hopefully we get to see that one. Really cool card with both Ren and 6 and the Saren Steel Seeker.
All right. Well, I believe the players in the feature match area are ready to begin. So we are going to throw it down there and check in with them to make sure. And then when they are ready to go, they can start playing.
Do not adjust your screens. That is a hot dog.
There are 5 people wearing hot dog costumes at this tournament. It's the Glizzy Gang, IRL. You know, me and my friends, when we play Fall Guys, we are the Glizzy Gang pretty regularly, so.
You know I don't understand that reference, right, Todd?
That's fine. You don't have to. You're old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a hot dog to me.
All right, we're underway here. Gabriel Abadi on your right, playing red-green food versus Josh Schindler, playing 4-color Rhinos. We got a turn 1 Valdarin Epicure going to deal damage and make a blood token and pass on the turn.
Blood token, a great enabler to get that discard so you can cast Asmo from your hand. And Epicure, you know, giving you artifacts to sack to Galblast and things, triggering Saren Steel Seeker. Just a nice little, you know, role player in an archetype like this.
Yeah, I love it. Saren Steel Seeker here, the play for Abadi on turn 2. Now, that combined with Underworld Cookbook and Overchase Daredevil could be a way for him to generate a massive amount of resources against this Rhinos deck, which you do need a lot of resources to punch through those 4/4s over and over and over again. Schindler going to tutor up. I think that's the end of the Triumph. These alt arts are killing me, always.
Yeah, I would think it's Indutha.
All right, back to Josh's way. We're going to draw. Unlikely to have turn 2 Rhino play. It's only really possible with Gemstone Caverns now that they banned Simian Spirit Guide some time ago. But this deck does have a lot of plays on turn 2 now with the pitch elementals, and here we see a Fury, and that's going to kill both creatures. Steel Seeker getting blown out here. Fury going to the graveyard after that.
Now, the Epicure, really the most important half of that card is the blood token, so you're not too upset losing that. Not a full 2-for-1 there, but losing the Steel Seeker is definitely a big deal.
All right, looks like a body has a Boseiju, so second green source unlocks Finale of Devastation. Has 2 copies of Urza Saga in hand, though. Really wants to get those online quickly, but maybe the Asmo plus the Cookbook this turn is a better sequence. We'll see what he goes with.
Is that 2 Urza Sagas in a body's hand?
I believe so.
We got a Boseiju, it looks like 2.
Yeah, that's Finale and then a red card. I believe it is Shrapnel Blast, but it's unclear. We're going to go for a Finale for 0. That goes against Asmo because Asmo is a 0 drop, but a Force Negation is going to stop that in its tracks.
And does have to pitch a Shardless Agent to that Force. I wonder if Schindler has another Cascade card.
All right, we're going to fetch another Triumph. This one is Xander's Lounge, the Grixis one, so all colors unlocked. Assuming that is into the Triumph.
Yeah. Now, I don't think there are any black cards in Schindler's list, so that's why it's 4-color Rhinos.
Right, we can't do that, right? We can't say that. Just say Josh's list. That's too much. It's too much, man. All right, well, third land for Josh, and he's going to pass it back. A body. Going to go for a Saga, but it's very likely Schindler here is going to go for an end-of-turn Violent Outburst, would be my guess.
And there's a Scrapwork Mutt. That's another new card for these decks. Chooses not to discard to the enters the battlefield trigger. Wants to keep both Sagas and the Shrapnel Blast around.
It's interesting the Mutt seeing play in these archetypes because I think in general this is, I would say on power level, a relatively weak card. However, when you play Asmo, Kordakai, Bal, Kuldakar, however you say it, you got to have some things that make you discard so that you can actually turn it on. Oh, how lucky.
Yes.
Don't have to flip off any more extra cards. Rhino's right on top. Who's going to win? One little doggy or two stomping, romping Rhinos?
Well, the Stompin' Rompin' Rhinos are going to run into some constructs soon. One of them just got sent to the Shadow Realm. With that Shrapnel Blast sacrificing the blood tokens. So one Rhino down. So body in a position where these constructs should stabilize him, but there's another Shardless Agent from Schindler here. So we're going to be staring down 3 Rhinos once we find another copy of Crashing Footfalls off the top.
Yeah, you have to imagine going to Shrapnel Blast at a Rhino doesn't feel too good since it does only cost 1 card to make 2 Rhinos. But, you know, you got to slow the bleeding. And if Josh didn't have another Cascade card here for another Crashing Footfalls, you know, turning that 8 damage a turn into 4 damage a turn could buy you a lot of time. But now we're just getting overwhelmed.
Yeah, and the real problem here for a body is that it's going to take a while to get these constructs up to size to be able to rumble with these Rhinos. You know, the Shrapnel Blast also cost him an artifact on the battlefield, so it's just the Mud at this point. We make 1 construct next turn with Saga, it's a 2/2.
Yeah.
Even if we draw an artifact off the top, it's a 3/3, not big enough.
All right, Daredevil is the draw, but
Yeah,
that Force of Negation on the finale of Devastation was devastating.
Yeah, if we had Asmo and a cookbook in play here, then that Daredevil would be a great draw. We'd have the engine online, maybe get enough food to deal with the Rhino with the Asmo, or to get enough artifacts into play that these constructs can outsize them.
Yeah, so Josh going to untap here. He's going to crack a fetch line EOT, but he's going to untap here with 14 power, a body at 16, a healthy life total for Josh as well. 14 means no combination of Shrapnel Blasts and Galvanic Blasts are going to kill him from this spot with only 1 card left in a body's hand.
What you're seeing here really is something that the food decks maybe aren't as prepared for. I really like these food decks against some of the mid-range strategies in the format, like Is It Murktide and Rakdos Scam. And those are decks that can disrupt you a lot early, but then take a little time to turn the corner. These Cascade decks, you know, you can interact with all these free spells on the first couple turns, as we saw this game with the Fury and Force of Negation, and then turn the corner really quickly with Cascade spells, putting in 8 to 10 power immediately. And so Schindler just not giving a body time here to set up his engine.
All right, 12 damage comes through body, low on life. Traded the Mutt for the Shardless Agent. We're going to end of turn make a construct. And then probably make another construct before this pops off. I think that's a Springleaf Drum drawn for turn from a body. The new one from Brothers War, the retro frame.
Springleaf Drum would have been an interesting one to find here because that'd allow you to make another construct, but still wouldn't leave you with a 3rd blocker here because all these Rhinos are lethal. So I imagine this is a Shadow Spear. Ooh.
Cookbook.
Going for a cookbook.
Well, that is going to make an extra artifact to maybe make them nicely sized. But without the ability to make another construct here, I don't know if a body is going to be liking the situation.
The food that you make here is going to get you up to 4 artifacts, but you have to sack it before damage in order to... Oh, no, because we have the drum. So we can actually trade for 2 Rhinos and then gain 3 life.
But do we have to crack before? Oh, because it'll still be 4/4s. That's okay.
But yeah, so they'll trade. They won't live. So you can go up to 7, take 4, go down to 3. Okay. As long as Schindler doesn't have anything here.
Underworld Cookbook, an awesome card. You know, the combination with Asmo obviously relevant. But here at Dead Gone, that's going to bounce one of those constructs, and that's going to be game.
Any other piece of interaction there was enough. And yeah, a body really close to stabilizing that game there. I think if he had just a little bit more life, or 1 more turn, you know, he can turn the corner there because now he had Cookbook going. He, you know, can find another one the next turn. Has a bunch of good draws off the top of his deck potentially as well. But like I said, the ability to turn the corner so quickly in these Cascade decks is one of the things that makes them really good. and we saw that on full display in game one.
Yeah, so game one goes to Josh Schindler playing Domain Rhinos. He has all the colors for Leyline Binding mostly. A body, I think the turning point in that game was really just the turn 2 Fury, right?
Yeah.
Killing that Steel Seeker really just gummed up a lot of his potential avenues of, resource generation. And Fury really just showing off a free 2 for 2. 0 mana to 2 for 2 your opponent is pretty crazy.
Yeah, and looking at sideboards, pretty straightforward sideboard for Schindler here with 3 copies of Endurance, 4 Force of Vigor, 4 Leyline of Sanctity, 4 Mystical Dispute. Definitely like the Force of Vigors here. Those are going to be great. And the Endurances are something I would also consider. Potentially cutting things like Brazen Borrower in the main. Seems like an inefficient source of interaction here. Not sure what else. Most of the rest of the deck seems fine. But definitely those 7 being the main considerations in a relatively stock Rhinos list. Going over to a body side, let's check out his sideboard. We got 2 copies of Soul Guide Lantern, 1 Pithing Needle, 3 Haywire Might, a Pirate Spellbomb, 2 Orvar, the All Form, 2 Veil of Summer, 2 Endurance, 1 Boseiju Who Endures, and 1 Seismic Assault. Not a lot to love here. Because we're Gruul, we can't really play counter spells for the Cascade. There's no permanent base fate for that. Maybe you want something like Seismic Assault that can help you like clear away Rhinos, but that takes a lot, 2 lands at a time.
Yeah. Normally, you would want something like Engineered Explosives to help out against Rhinos, but EE on 0 is just like tragic against a body's deck as well, right? Like, kills all the food tokens, any sort of treasure, blood,
Asmo.
Kills Asmo specifically, kills Saga tokens, so... all the cards that are good against Rhinos are good against Saga too, so like you can't really afford to play them when you're playing these Saga decks.
Yeah, I think this might be a shuffle up and hope for a better start here from a body.
Yeah, cross your fingers, hope there's no Fury, and hope your Asmo comes down. A body going to be on the play here for game number 2. Got whooped game 1 by a Crash of Rhinos.
And saw Forest... We've got Mountain, Forest, Stomping Ground, Boseiju, 4 lands here in the body's hand. That's not great. Yeah.
I might have kept it with the Mutt, though. You get to turn something into a real card, maybe.
He knows that he's under a lot of pressure in this matchup, so he needs to come out of the gates swinging.
That's fair.
I think I see a Violent Outburst in Schindler's hand.
All right. Well, while we're waiting on these players to finish mulligans, did we get a complete player count, Taryn?
77 players.
77 players here today. We actually had to have some spillover into the next room. Apex is working on getting a little extra gaming space here at their home store, and it's looking pretty nice.
It's like a keep on 6 cards for a body. I see Steel Seeker, Mutt, Epicure, a couple lands, so has some pieces here, but doesn't have an Asmo, which is the main one.
Yeah.
Doesn't have any sort of piece of that engine, a Cookbook or a Daredevil.
One thing I love about the Epicure is not only does it trigger the Saren Steelseeker with the blood token, but the blood token specifically can help turn on Asmo. You do need to have that discard effect happen before you can cast Asmo for 1 mana. And that blood token innocuous seemingly, but in actuality just very good. Can also use it to discard Daredevil.
Okay, there's a Daredevil actually in the back of a body's hand, so yeah, gonna pitch that to the Mutt. Now finds a Cookbook. Okay, so we're getting things going. We got a lot of the engine online. Just needs to find an Asmo at this point, really.
All right, back Josh's way. He's gonna crack. Gonna go get probably one of those key triomes. No plays on 1, seems like. Xander's Lounge is the find.
Classic Triome deck.
Well, it actually just makes way more sense in the Cascade decks, right? Because you just don't play 1 mana cards, really. So fetching a Triumph is just brain genius play.
Goes for Xander's Lounge. That suggests there's no Leyline Binding in his hand.
Or you could go fetch White Source Leyline Binding.
Yeah, you'd rather fetch it tapped.
But if you already have the Temple Garden.
Yeah, there you go. That makes sense.
All right.
So all 5 colors of mana online for Schindler, full domain. But looks like doesn't have interaction on 2 either.
Yeah, but we got Steel Seeker, Steel Seeker, Saren Steel Seeker. It's a new card, and it's a very weird name. So Saren Steel Seeker comes down. And now that, combined with this Underworld Cookbook, could be a card advantage engine. And eventually we are hoping to get Asmo online so they can check those Rhinos.
So Abadi's got pressure here from the couple creatures, and now has Steelseeker, Cookbook, Daredevil to start grinding a ton of value. And wisely orders the Seeker first, then the Cookbook. Cookbook's going to trigger the Steelseeker, also return that Daredevil, puts a Mutt in the graveyard, extra value.
All right, so it looks like the engine is up and rolling. We're going to discard a Daredevil. That's going to make it food. That's going to trigger the Steel Shaper, and then the...
Oh, there's those Endurances out of the sideboard.
Yeah, and that's going to take care of the Daredevil and slow the engine down. But I feel like it's not going to be that hard to find another one because of the Sarin Steel Shaper. Yeah. It's very good at digging for that engine piece. We still get the food token as well. We found a land. We've already played a land.
Interesting. I assume Abadi also wisely stacked the Daredevil trigger on top of the Steelseeker trigger. So if there was an Endurance on the other side, you wouldn't be able to also get the whatever card from the Steelseeker if you wanted to put that in your graveyard.
Right. So upkeep we're going to do, this is kind of like scrying. If it's not a land and you want to keep it, you know, this is like a good time to do it on a body side of things.
Instead, hits a land there that I think that was from Catacombs, and then draws Ren for turn. So now we got Ren as a source of card advantage to feed the Cookbook with the Steelseeker. Cracks of Blood first finds a Saga, also great with the Ren, and is going to generate some more pressure. And you're really seeing the power of this food deck being able to just see so many cards once the engine is online, and the power of Steelseeker in particular.
I'm really curious if Josh here has another Violent Outburst, because he did pitch one to that Endurance. Yeah. However,
given that he didn't have much early interaction, I would suspect there is another Cascade card there.
Right. And because he didn't play anything on his own turn, very likely that is another Violent Outburst. So Abadi probably not going to attack, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
Renin 6 comes down, picks up a land, but Abadi here looks like he's going to probably pass back, but we'll see if he gets aggressive.
Yeah. Schindler immediately reaches for that fetch land, so... Oh. Force of Vigor pitching Shardless Agent. So decline to cast Shardless Agent on his previous turn to keep up Force of Vigor. I think that means there has to be a Violent Outburst here.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Rhinos are way more important in that spot than a Force of Vigor. Like,
yeah, we saw how important the early pressure was in game 1.
Yeah. Fetching a Forest, so that's a definite sign of a 3-drop incoming.
Yeah. Also wants to preserve his life total. These players play a lot of tournaments against each other. They know the opposing players' tendencies, and Abadi has played, as we noted, decks with Galvanic Blast and Shrapnel Blast a lot. So Schindler wisely choosing to conserve his life total there.
All right, let's shuffle that Violent Outburst and then put it on the bottom. We're going to untap 4 4s. These 2 Rhinos going to start chunking a body at 15. That's 2 turns worth of attack, and might want to try to take down the Renin 6 first, since it can get back that Urza's Saga.
Yeah, I think that is step 1. You've done so much to disrupt Abadi's engine. Okay. I think both went at the Ren, but Abadi wanted to get the Mutt in the graveyard so he can dig a little deeper here.
Yeah.
So just kind of throwing that away on a chump block that didn't do a whole lot.
All right.
Finds another land off the top. It's going to be able to turn one of these fetches into another card.
All right. Finds another Urza Saga, but awkwardly played his land for turn already.
Yeah, that's going to be punishing, but an Asmo is a great draw. Already has 2 food on the battlefield, so that's going to deal with 1 Rhino, even if there's a removal spell from Schindler. And, can start generating more food with the Cookbook Asmo finds.
All right, Ross, try to say it.
As Miranda Mardik had Dastin Nakuldekar.
That's pretty close. All right, here's what I think it's. As Mora no Mardica Distina Koldakar.
I'm impressed.
I practiced this one day. I made a little video for Twitter once.
Cookbook triggers the Steelseeker. I think there was another Steelseeker on top for a body there, and chooses to leave it there.
All right, an attack here, but the Asmo is going to be able to pop off one of the Rhinos. The Mutt's going to go exile EOT. Unfortunately for a body, though, that Saga stuck in hand because he did hastily play his land before triggering the Steel Seeker.
He's done a lot of good sequencing on small things in this match. That's the first little slip up we've seen from him here.
Yeah. One thing I like to tell players, especially when you start playing under camera more often, when you start playing high level Magic, for large prizes, just slow down a little. That's not usually a problem for some people. Some people really need to speed it up. Last time we were here, there was one guy playing, was a blue-eye control.
Oh, that's
taking his sweet time.
He's here today.
Yeah. But Abadi here looks to be in the driver's seat. Whenever Asmo comes down, it's like pretty solid against these Rhino decks.
Yeah, we saw him Abadi not really able to stabilize against the Rhinos in game 1. But here, looks like he's going to be able to do it, though. There's a Fury pitching a Fire Ice. That's going to deal with Asmo and the Epicure. So,
wow.
Abadi going to need to find an answer to this last Rhino. But Schindler really low on resources at this point. I think just one card left in hand. So, Abadi's going to have a couple turns here to try to find an answer. And I believe, it was not a Steel Seeker left on top. It was the other green card in the deck, Finale Devastation. And that's way better.
Oh, yeah. So, Finale Devastation, going to go rebuy the Asmo, and that's going to get Cookbook. And while we don't have the Daredevil, we can find it pretty easily. And we can kind of replace a lot of those discarded cards from the Cookbook with Saren Steelseeker.
Yeah, and just needs one more food here to deal with the last Rhino, and that'll stabilize him and give him time to start working value with the Steelseeker. And as soon as a Daredevil gets found, this will get out of hand real quick. And we've got the Saga too, so...
All right.
Yes, wants to play the Saga, so I suspect... Oh no, plays the other Cookbook. Interesting.
Oh, finds the double D. The Daredevil.
Yeah. So this does mean, though, that he's going to take another hit from the Rhino.
Yeah.
And if Schindler can find a removal spell for the Asmo, it could be very punishing. But
True.
Even if the Asmo dies, now with the engine fully online with Daredevil, the constructs from this Saga are going to be very large.
Yeah, agreed. Josh could have another Endurance or something like that to pop off the Daredevil before the end tap. Could have another Force of Vigor. A lot of cards in his deck and sideboard that could be devastating here for a body, but right now a little bit behind, and all it looks like is a suspended Crashing Footfalls, and that ain't gonna do it, Chief.
Okay. Body choosing to buffer his life total here by sacking that food. Yeah. Gonna immediately make a construct because that'll trigger the Daredevil.
Yep. So bring Daredevil back. Top card, another Daredevil. Not as useful, but having one in hand protects you from Endurance later down the line, which is nice.
Yeah. So it has that insurance now and can make 2 more food immediately. That'll deal with the Rhino, and it looks like Abadi's going to run away with this second game. Schindler, had some early disruption again, had the Rhinos, but Abadi this time able to answer them. And one of the things about this Rhinos deck is that you have so many of those pitch spells. We saw Endurance, we saw Fury, and we saw Force of Vigor used in this game, and that empties your resources really quickly. Mm-hmm. It's 2 cards, 2 cards at a time to try to interact with your opponent. You need to get to a point where you can start hard casting some of them. If that Fury was just cast and it stuck around, or Force of Vigor was hard cast, maybe he has enough left over to push through there. But instead, just has that second Crashing Footfalls that never does anything.
Yeah. All right. Well, Abadi does take down game number 2. Impressive stuff from the green-red food deck. Oh, man, did we just get a big raid?
Young Dingo raiding us with a party of 223.
Heck
Thank
yeah.
you so much for that raid. Welcome, Raiders. We are in round 1 here at the Apex Gaming home store in Caldwell, Ohio. So we got a ton of Magic left to watch. So hope you all stick around. A lot of great Modern going on. Right now, it is our main feature match here featuring Gabe Abadi, one of the Hallmark players on this tour. He is tied for 6th on the leaderboard right now, playing his take on the new Gruul food deck. Mm-hmm. A lot heavier on burn with Shrapnel Blast and Galvanic Blast. Playing against Josh Schindler on 4-color Rhinos. And to answer all of your silent questions, yes, that is a hot dog.
It is a hot dog.
But things are getting serious on our backup feature match table because the hot dog hood is off.
Yes.
That's when they're getting serious.
Someone in chat earlier pointed out that if you are ballsy enough to wear a hot dog costume and you get on camera, you should be banned from taking off the hood.
You gotta commit
into it. Commit to the bits.
Yeah. So right now our players are shuffling up for game 3 here. Schindler was able to take it game 1 with some good disruption and quick Rhinos. Didn't have enough to push through lethal in game 2. A body able to stabilize, get his engine online. And so Schindler's going to be on the play here for game number 3.
Yeah, Rhino's on the play. Deadly combination.
I think I see 3 Asmos in a body's hand, and I don't think there was a way to cast them. So another mulligan here. A body did mulligan in game 2, but being on 6 cards did not matter if you've got the right cards.
Yeah, cards like Saren Steelseeker, Asmo, Cookbook with the Daredevil, these are all engine-based cards, so mulliganing doesn't really hurt that badly. You're not like a raw resource count deck, you're more of a 2-piece engine deck.
Yeah, and once that engine is online, it's going to generate so many resources that it'll undo any amount of mulligan.
Yeah. Big shout out to Young Dingo for the raid. I was actually in his chat this morning when he was playing Rakdos Scam, and I made fun of him so bad that he decided to shame raid.
I didn't know shame raiding was a thing, but...
Oh, yeah. No, you make someone feel bad. They're like, please love me. Here are the people. I'm just playing.
Well,
I really
we
like
love all of you raiders.
Yes, we do.
And Young Dingo.
Thank you so much. All right, body here, peeking at a 6. Going to throw it back. Going to go to 5. But again, the mulligans don't hurt that badly if you have a way to cast Asmo and or Cookbook plus Daredevil or a Saren Steel Shaper. I think all good openers.
Yes. And one of the things about Asmo in this matchup, that 3rd point of toughness matches up really well against a lot of the removal they play. Yeah, you have Fury to answer it, but the dead side of Dead Gone, only 2 damage. Fire, only 2 damage.
Stomp, only 2 damage.
So, limited ways for Schindler to interact with an Asmo, unless they can find one of their copies of Fury.
All right, we actually have the prizing breakdown here for the Apex Gaming RCQ and Invitational Qualifier. 9th through 16th place, $80. 5th through 8th, 125. That's pretty good. 8th place, $125. 3rd and 4th, 175 each. 2nd place, $350 cash. 1st, up top, 550 big ones. All cash, no store credit. They're playing for a lot of money today. That's $2,390 total dollars in payout. Apex pays out basically all the entry fees, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. And, everybody likes playing for cash. So we'll see if either of these 2 players can make a run at some of that money here. Abadi's sticking on 5. I think I only see 1 land, though. I think that's Basic Forest, Haywire Might. So I think he might have brought in 1 Haywire Might to, potentially answer a Leyline Binding.
Yeah.
That probably came in from the sideboard. Reasonable. I see a Wren, so really hoping to draw a fetch land here. That's an Urza Saga, so a 2nd land, but not one that casts Wren in 6. And for Urza Saga, you need a 3rd land to start making those constructs.
Yeah, Wren in 6, we're just praying for a fetch land here so we can get that online. A Saga next turn doesn't quite do it without the 3rd land naturally drawn.
Yeah. Schindler is suspending Crashing Footballs on turn 1 and then forgetting to tick it down, it looks like on turn 2. So that's going to stay on 4. See if that ends up punishing him, because we know for Schindler's side in this matchup, he really needs early pressure.
All right, it looks like we're going to upkeep Ice, so that's going to shut down any Wren and 6 shenanigans for this turn. And Abadi going to go ahead and play the Urza Saga, but doesn't quite have a way to turn it on yet. Is looking for a land next turn.
Draws a Shrapnel Blast for turn. That's not going to do much good yet. Maybe becomes relevant later. And yeah, it's going to be really critical for Abadi to draw a red source next turn.
That's a beat. We got a Force of Vigor EOT. That's going to blow up the land, the Saga. It's going to blow up the Cookbook, the engine piece. And on a mold of 5, you got to imagine Abadi is feeling the pain right now.
Yeah, Force of Vigor being a straight 2 for 2 for free makes it a really high upside pitch spell.
Man, these Crashing Footfalls are just right on top every time. It's great. All right.
Save us some time here. And yeah, this is an ideal start from Schindler. Interacted on turn 2 with the Ice. Interacted on turn 2 again with the Force of Vigor. And then has the 10 power on turn 3. And Abadi does not find the land. And this one looks like it's going to be over in a hurry.
Yeah, I mean, cards like Force of Vigor are just such a blowout against decks that play Urza Saga. There's so many just errant artifacts that are pretty decent. And getting to blow up the Saga and just another thing is just so brutal. And the body here taking the L in round number 1. Josh Schindler with 4-color Rhinos takes the game and the match. Powerful stuff. Those pitch cards really really juiced up Rhino decks, man. Just holy.
Yeah, and when, like I said, when Force of Vigor is live, Fury is similar in that oftentimes you can get 2 creatures for it. Makes them look really, really strong because you're not even losing any card advantage there.